was that?
Well, you did a wonderful job.
We're getting there. We're growing. And this is the first time that we're doing this in person, so we're kind of figuring this out together, which makes it even more fun.
I found you this morning. I haven't been down here in years. I love this building, but I was like, where is he?
Well, that's the thing. I kept thinking, I'm like, did I give Lee directions to the studio? That's what's great. If somebody doesn't like me, they aren't finding me in this building.
No.
So this is really exciting. I mean, how cool is this? 90 seasons of being a local theater company.
It's very exciting and, of course, very time-consuming. I left a whole group of volunteers who are stuffing these beautiful brochures and personal letters from me into envelopes.
Thank you, volunteers. You can have Lee will be back in just a little bit.
Exactly.
Well, I can't believe no one realizes how much work you guys put into these seasons each year, year after year, really.
We do actually have a number of other theater groups who will say, how do you do 12, 14, 16 productions a year? And again, that's evolved. I mean, we started out way back in 1933 doing one production at the high school for 3 performances. They'd put it together on Thursday night after school was over, and then they had to dismantle it, on Sunday. It was just crazy. And then we went to 3. We were at 3 productions a year for a long, long time because school teachers, of course, they wanted their summers off.
That's true.
and then we went to 5, because as a business, you have to keep producing your product to grow and things like that. And then it seems like we went from 6 to 10 about 10 years ago when Kevin and I sort of took over because we realized we wanted to run it like a business and it had to be year round. Utilities don't stop in the summer. And that's in fact, we don't want to compete with the schools, but if we want to get youth involved, a younger generation, you have to do it during the summer.
Absolutely.
So now, we are year round, and I sent this brochure to a lot of friends and said, well, in case you're wondering what I'm doing or where I am, in fact, yesterday my vitamin D was just slightly low when I went to the doctor. I said, well, I'm a vampire. And she just looked at me. I said, I live in a dark theater. I rarely see the sunshine. I'll take a little more D3.
I love it. That is fantastic. And I mean, so many great things are coming our way. As you guys saw in that little intro package, Violet Sharp is just coming up right around the corner.
Oh, tomorrow, around the quick corner here.
Yeah.
But I am so excited. We're now at the point where a new, riveting, well-written drama, even though people will tell you that they love musicals and love comedies, and I do too. But if you ask them about their favorite shows, they'll say, To Kill a Mockingbird or The Miracle Worker. And I just think that Violet Sharp is going to join that league of really good dramas that just touch people and something they didn't know. A lot of people my age, not your age so much, would remember the whole news thing and the brouhaha about the Lindbergh baby kidnapping.
Yeah.
But there's so much more behind the story. And of course, in 1932, forensic and investigations.
Right.
But some of those same issues, I mean, we've been talking about police conduct and how people are sometimes treated when they're brought in. And if we push for a conviction, does that mean we get the right person?
True.
Apparently not, according to this wonderful, touching play.
Well, and now you are the director of this play, aren't you?
No, Kevin.
Oh, Kevin is.
Kevin
okay.
is. I pushed him to do this show.
That's what I was trying to remember. Okay.
Yes, and I take care of the lights and the set dressing and help with costumes and.
So you're going to be busy.
Oh, very busy, but I'm now feeling confident. This play has over 100 light cues, which is kind of unusual for a play, but it's a really light, heavy show because it takes place over 4 months in 2 different homesteads and courtrooms and police stations and everywhere else. So the set he designed is very unique in how we move from station to station and then show how time has passed. But we have an incredible group of actors. 12 people they drive 45 over an hour. We have a gentleman who drives over an hour to come to rehearsal, but he loves it. He did theater in high school, and he just decided in middle age he wanted to get back involved, and he plays Septimus, the butler, who's kind of the bad guy in the show. And he's the sweetest man imaginable, but he's pretty damn convincing.
So I am blown away by this because I'm right there with you. I don't know why this hasn't been a bigger deal of a play than what it is now. I mean, this is a huge story, and you're right. My generation doesn't, but I'm a big history person. So the Lindbergh kidnapping, I mean, that was the crime of the century, for a while.
It really was,
Yeah.
and everything about their life was put under the magnifying glass. And I can only imagine. I mean, Anne Morrow Lindbergh was newly pregnant again when the kidnapping happened, and to go through that and everything she endured, losing a child and then having all these people in her home for months and months and months until it was 72 days later when they found the baby. And that's just one of the most heartbreaking things I can't imagine.
No, I really couldn't either. And I think that you guys are just going to blow it out of the water. Can you take us through the cast a little bit and tell us a little bit more?
Yes, Carolyn Bergdahl is a software engineer at Boeing, and she has the lead role. And I first met Carolyn a little over a year ago. She auditioned for a show called The Cover of Life, and unfortunately, it was one of two shows that we had a COVID outbreak.
Oh.
And so they only did 3 shows. And my instincts just told me she's got it. She's got that special something. And so I gave her a copy of the play and I said, just read this. I don't know at that time when we'll do it or, even if. I kind of figured if, but. So she's held on to it for a year, and she wrote Kevin and I the nicest note. But I mention her career because many of these people had some background in performance. Like I undergraduate, I was a theater major, and then my father said, that is not a saleable skill. I'm not paying for graduate school for you to go on in theater. So I was like, fine, I'll be a therapist and figure out our crazy family. But
Well, did you figure it out?
Yeah, kind of.
There we go.
I keep really good boundaries with a lot of people in that family. But so she's just someone very, very special and rather new. And then, as I said, Joshua Sarver. Oh my gosh, He's been a nurse. He's been a medical technician, a vet. Now he's getting his counseling degree. He lives over towards Centralia, not quite there, but he raises horses out in the country.
Oh, wow.
And he drives in a spiffy little sports car that he had a flat last night, but it's still a spiffy little sports car. He's going to have to spend the night.
Oh, no.
And we have a young woman who's the narrator who just moved back from Colorado. Now, she has done a lot of film work and voiceovers and things like that. Mm-hmm. And Ashley actually worked tech for us in the play that goes wrong. And she said, I've never had so much fun being part of a theater group. And that's really our goal, that people feel truly welcome and safe in our building. Mm-hmm. We take care of them. We watch over them, particularly if they're under 18. They're never alone. There's always at least 2 adults, and we don't even let them go to the car or anything.
No, that's a good thing.
By themselves. And I love it when people are just laughing and the kids are acting up. Because I get, when I was a kid, these teachers, they'd had enough of kids. They wanted quiet. So they weren't really pro-kid.
Gotcha.
But I can see the future. I mean, I know Kevin and I will be retiring, and I need someone else to care and love about this theater the way I do.
And that's the best way to do it, is instilling this family atmosphere that you have. Because Lee, you and I've talked, me doing the independent wrestling stuff all throughout, I've seen the ins and outs and and no one realizes how hard it is to organize all that and to keep everybody safe and to make sure that everyone's feeling the way they need to be feeling. And whether that's from your personnel all the way down to the audience, and you guys do this time and time again.
Well, and even this morning earlier, we were talking, not so much the kids, but we've had so many programs about teenage angst and depression, and COVID was not good for any of us in any sense. But even the adults, I've found that when people used to talk about the weather, it was because they couldn't think of anything else to say. They weren't good conversationalists. But now people bring up the weather, and I can hear anxiety in their voices. It's come to represent all the changes in the world, everything that's going on in the world that they don't like. So yesterday we started this mailing, and they were all telling me about pickleball, and they were all talking. And within 10 minutes, they were laughing and happy. And we had a dozen people just sitting at a table folding paper. They weren't doing anything, that creative. But I could tell they felt better. They were having a little cookie, a little coffee, and laughing with people. And that's the best we can do. We're not going to change everything that's going on right now.
No.
But stewing about it, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I think when you come to the theater, you do forget your life. Hopefully, for a couple of hours, you just become part of this almost commune, because everybody's there, and you can hear people breathing and laughing and crying and reacting, so you feel part of something.
That is so fantastic. And I really mean that, because, it's not easy to do what you guys are doing, and especially in the times we're in, because it seems like you look on the news and, plays upset people, or somebody doesn't like this. And I mean, you're navigating this kind of not fine line, but enough to where you're making sure you aren't swimming too heavy.
Oh, and in the Midwest, that very much. I mean, we have to look at content. We do have to look at language. This play is rated PG-13. Nothing offensive. But on the other hand, I would not want a younger child to be traumatized by the thought of a child being killed. So even though we never see anything, it's after the fact, although we've seen the baby in lots of pictures.
Right.
But I don't want anyone to be frightened by that.
Yeah, and that's what it's always great to highlight that, though, and talk a little bit more about the behind the scenes, because you guys do such a good job. We only see the success and the good plays and the good pieces, but we don't see all the blood, sweat, and tears that you guys are kind of pouring into this, each and every day of the week, and not just for the season, for the entire year.
Well, and even picking the season, I think this was the hardest time. It took me almost 2 months, and that's very unusual because we replace constantly, and we're part of the American Association of Community Theater, so we look at their reviews and we see what's being done all over the country. But as you can imagine, theater companies lost a lot of money during COVID, and they have become even stricter about royalties and the applications. I'm not kidding. They're like 18 pages. It used to be 7, 8 pages. Now they're 18 pages long. I think because they felt they got ripped off. And streaming, which is, again, a mode that I don't see us doing anytime soon, but it's become the big thing. So they have to make sure no one is stealing their property and streaming it without paying for permission. So you practically have to submit like a house application. You have to, tell them everything about yourself. And then I have to look at the plays. Will it appeal to our audience? Because sometimes I love all theater, and I go to a lot of theater in St. Louis, and I've seen shows at the Rep that I was like, oh gosh, I'd love to do that. And I've waited and waited and waited patiently. And Alabama is like that. Alabama Story, which we're not doing until a year from now. But I originally contacted the author. He was producing it at the Springfield, the Lincoln Museum, for just a special thing. And then COVID hit, and we were all shut down. So he gave it to me. Gave it to me for $100 a performance. But in the meantime, he got published. And of course, his publisher is like, oh, no, we're not charging that. That girl can't have that for that. So, but I was able to get the rights. And so I do believe we're the first non-equity house, because we don't pay our actors. We pay staff, but we don't pay actors. So that's considered non-equity. They don't have to have their professional card to appear in our plays.
That is so cool, though, and it's really I've never really learned about that process of picking plays and how that goes. I always did some stuff in St. Louis and learned about it, like when they brought the Karate Kid in from out of before they went to Broadway with it at Kirkwood, I think it was at. And even when I was learning about it, I went, how does this work? Can you give us a brief overview of just how that happens real quick, and we'll circle back to the non-dia season?
Well, we always know that people love musicals. What people don't know is we rarely even make a penny. The goal with a musical is to bring people in, have them have a good time, and then hope that they will buy frequent tickets and then even become a season ticket holder, and then maybe even give an extra patronage or annual giving, or come to our concerts or all the extra things. People are usually aghast when we say the average Broadway musical that people want to see. $30,000 is what it costs us to put it on, and we have to pay at least half of that up front. So in advertising 2 musicals, but really 3 because we have our summer musical, right, you can add up how much money that is that has to go out in the spring, and hope that we recoup it in the next 12 months.
Wow.
But one of the things we're doing next year that I'm very excited about, particularly for people your age, I'm going to try and woo you into this. Ooh. We're doing the Actors Studio. In repertory, we're doing 3 new, well-written plays in 30 days, and everybody will have a major role, a secondary role, and then maybe a feature role. So you have to learn 3 scripts, and we do all the performances in the month of January of 24. And so we have to basically use the same version of the set, except we just change it with a few props and costumes. But, it's the same 2 rooms, which we do turn into a circus tent. We've figured out how to do that.
That's incredible.
For the last show. But yeah, this is something that I miss at the Rep. I love the studio series. Those were the plays that stuck with me. And I've wanted to do this to train people in their 20s and 30s. We're already doing acting classes this summer for the kids 12 to 17. Mm-hmm. But I have a lot of people your age who aren't exactly settled or, and I want to get them hooked on theater early. Even if they do get married and raise kids and whatever, I'm hoping then somewhere, late 40s, they may say, I love theater. I want to get back involved. And I love it when that happens.
Sometimes that leads to the best success story is somebody gets a taste of it early. They take a break for a little bit, tend to the family, tend to their career. And then it seems like, middle life, like Rodney Dangerfield, he was selling siding on his house, and then 45, he becomes the biggest comedian in the world,
It is hit and miss, but yeah, most actors have been starving artists at one time or another.
Well, they don't realize. No one realizes that too. I always joke because I always did the acting wrestling correlation because you see the guys on TV and they're holding the belts up, and you don't realize they got paid $20 a show for 15 years and finally made it big. And it's no different than acting or being in a part of any play.
But I think being part of something creative, there is huge value in that. Yep. And we've had so many people who just even say, I want to come usher here because I see that I can make friends and people are friendly here. And so they feel part of that. And we want to grow our volunteer base. There's a lot of people that are needed to run a theater who are never on stage. And you're probably aware of that because you're part of production values, how many people it takes to promote the finished product. But that's a big part of what we want to do for the whole region. Yeah. I mean, I love the history of Alton, but again, we want to be the regional destination. And I told you 17% of our ticket sales come from North County, St. Louis, so that's a great thing.
Well, and Lee, I've said this time and time again, it's great to think local, and let's always do that, but let's bring people. You got to think bigger to bring it, bring local, better and back. It just doesn't make sense because people go, we got to sell all these tickets out right here in Alton, and it's like, well,
it's probably not going to happen.
No. So let's reach out and show people how cool we are and how great things we have going on right here in the 618. Yes. I love it.
And being aware also of economics because, again, so many theaters, we were so lucky, so many theaters didn't own their building. They couldn't find anyone to rent to them. So they've gone out of business. A lot of community theaters. And now we have what we call hybrids. They do pay their actors anywhere from $50, $80, maybe a couple $100 for leads. And It's a trend that I don't see working for us very well. I think because their ticket prices, the average ticket price is $68 for a play and more. We don't live in a community where people can afford that. So if you look on here, we're launching today. We are selling a season ticket for $80. You get 2 musicals, 3 plays, and if you purchase early, you get a $5 coupon that you can use for the Best of the Best Christmas concert, the Best of the Best Country, or the studio series. So I figured it up. If you buy everything early, you could actually spend $125, but you would be seeing theater for 12 months. You would have
you can't
entertainment.
beat that.
No, you can't. You can't.
Awesome.
Please, listeners, please listen to that.
And what's the best way to get involved and get that season ticket if we want it? And hey, this is for you. If you want it at home, if they want it at home, what's the best way to find that information?
They can go online, altonlittletheater.org. On the website, it says everywhere, donate, purchase tickets. It's in switchover mode right now. So because we still have 89 shows.
Right.
We have 3 shows still to finish, 2 in March and 1 in May, and they're wonderful. But you can also call the box office, 618-462-3205. And we're there 10 to 2 every day. But, of course, now we're in production. So we're there every night. And people can even drop in and, get their tickets.
That is so cool. And I wish you nothing but the best for this. Violet Sharp. If I can, is our tickets still available for this one?
Yes, it's pretty busy this first weekend, but I think, next weekend, we're a word of mouth town sort of thing. And I'm hoping, because I think I told you the Lindbergh Nanny just came out, the novel is revisiting this. It's on the New York bestseller list. Wow. So a lot of people will be intrigued by how complex this case really was and what the public wasn't told way back then.
That's incredible. And for more information on the 90th season of Alton Little Theater, it's altonlittletheater.org, or just call the box office 618-462-3205. It's almost like I had that information in front of me.
I know. You're really good. Photographic memory, CJ. That's great.
Lee Cox, thank you so much. Violet Sharp, get your tickets now. It starts this weekend, and I am really looking forward to it. I know all of you guys are too. It is 9:38 in the heart of the River Bend. I had to look at the clock. On the second day of March, we'll take a quick break. Theater Thursdays, the first one, I'm calling it a success.